Aloha. In February, I went alone on a solo expedition without the family. That kind of sounds lame. Alright, February 3rd, I got my bags packed. I'm ready to go. We're going to head to Sarasota, pick up this SeaRay Sundancer 430 and cruise that thing back to Galveston. There we go. Oh, you're a turd.
Actually, 27% of our food is
Cheese. Yeah. In February, I was helping a guy who bought a boat in Florida move it over to Texas. So, along with this other guy, Captain Dave Erickson, who had a lot of wild sea stories and some crazy experience, we took that baby all the way from Venice, Florida, to Seabrook, Texas. Flew from Texas over to Florida.
If you are actively eating or drinking, I do ask that you keep the face covering on your face on today's flight. With that being said, I know things are pretty strange now with COVID, so greatly appreciate you joining us on today's flight. We look forward to seeing you next time. First Officer Ken will probably have a little more information for you en route today. Once we get a little closer to Florida, thanks again for joining us.
everyone. It's our pleasure to welcome you to Sarasota, where the local time is 2:27.
where he picked me up there and drove me down to the boat. We got it prepped that night. And early in the morning before sunrise, took off out of there, and surprising to me, the boat was covered in frost, so my little feetsies got cold. But we got it out of Venice, took it probably about 30 miles offshore, and just kind of ran the coastline, dodging a maze of crab pots. And then we pulled into Steinhatchee for the night. Stayed at the Sea Hag Marina, where they were. It was an interesting place, but very cheap. That's where I learned that the boat captain didn't like seafood. I took off first thing in the morning. That was our first cut across the Gulf. Then we jumped into the Intracoastal Waterway, or as I like to call it, the Great Salt River. And we followed that along until we got to a point. He was trying to get some marinas lined up to refuel for the next day. And we ended up accidentally staying on an Air Force base, Hobart Field. They were nice enough in the middle of the night to try to storm the boat with the whole, I guess,
They got guns.
base police force. But we lived. The next morning, took off out of there. Pretty much stayed in the ICW all the way through to New Orleans. We snuck into the Seabrook Marina and spent the night there, refueled. That day was okay. Mostly confined to the ICW, so it was a pretty easy ride. But the portion where we went through Mobile Bay was, at first, kind of cool. We were followed by some dolphins that decided they were going to practice their tricks, and maybe they thought we were recruiters for SeaWorld or something like that. But after that, the bay wasn't very nice anymore, and it stirred up some bad memories, similar to Matagorda Bay. So, anyone that's ever been in either one of those, yuck. After New Orleans, we managed to navigate through a couple of bridges and locks pretty easily, which kind of surprised me. But we were able to make good time. We got on to Morgan Shell in Abbeville, Louisiana, where we spent that night. Aside from all the weirdos and freaks that live in Louisiana, and if I offended you, I'm going to go out on a limb and probably guess that all the weirdos and freaks I'm referencing don't have internet on the little swamp shack that they live in. But if you did, my apologies. But that's weird. So
Gotta love them cages.
after that, it was a straight shot down to the freshwater bayou lock. We shot right out back into the Gulf. Cut straight across and up into Galveston just in time for some of the craziest fog I've ever seen roll into that place, where we lost complete visibility. Luckily, my familiarity of the area kind of helped greatly, but we got it in to the Lakewood Yacht Club just as the fog was kind of like lightening up. The rest of the expedition, and they helped us tie off the boat, and pretty much that was the end of that trip. It was cool and chilly. It was be bold during that time. I was so psyched being in Florida that I only had shorts with me. Lesson learned. Next time, at least have a pair of pants.
You're making a mess.
I know.
You got a little lag spike.
Mm-hmm.